Wow. Hello friends, my name is Jasmine and I'm an illustrator, and for this vlog I'm gonna try to document NaNoWriMo once again. I have tried to vlog my NaNoWriMo adventures I think twice now, and I start off great and then somewhere in the middle I kind of stop vlogging because I stop writing and just life gets in the way and I'm not super consistent with it. So now that it's November 2021, we're gonna try NaNoWriMo one more time. But I'm gonna do things slightly different. So instead of focusing on one single project, which in the past I've focused on my medieval comic, it's been a journey to try to focus on that project solely. I've actually mentioned it in previous vlogs, but what I'm gonna do differently this time around is I'm gonna be focusing on multiple projects: the medieval comic, finishing writing Space Warriors, and just this fantasy romance novel, because that's usually how I work. I don't just work on one project at a time. I'm always kind of jumping between projects. If I can allow myself to work on multiple projects for NaNoWriMo, I think I can genuinely focus on writing for the full month of November, which is ideally the whole point of NaNoWriMo. It's just to write, and most of the time you do want to focus on one project. But because I just have all these 3 projects, this is, I think, how it's going to work best for me. So my goal for this month is going to be to write 1,000 words in whatever project I can write that day. So we'll see how I can manage that. As far as the old NaNoWriMo, in July, you'll still see me post updates on that because I actually recorded that experience. I just haven't had time to edit it, so you'll still see me post it. And don't be confused, that's from July of this year. And I'll be posting a weekly vlog of November's NaNoWriMo. So those 2 things are going to be popping up in your newsfeed. Enjoy! Today is November 1st, the beginning of NaNoWriMo, and I am going to work on Space Warriors. To tell you a little bit about Space Warriors, it's my sci-fi webcomic. I've divided the story in 3 parts. The first part is already out in the internet sphere. The second part I've written and thumbnailed, which I've also vlogged that whole process. You can check it out in the links above, or I'll even put it in the description. The third part I've outlined, but I haven't written it. So I really do need to sit down and devote time to write it all out. This is precisely why I love NaNoWriMo, because I get to kind of join in on this global movement to write, and it really does help me feel motivated to be part of this challenge. So I'm just happy to be back here and not worried about having to stick to rules that don't really apply to me, so if that makes sense. Tonight we're just gonna focus on Space Warriors, and I'll report later on this week on how that goes. Or I'm not gonna be super strict about vlogging, so we'll see what happens. You know what's really cool that I just want to share? I started writing this story 6 years ago, and this was way before I was back to writing fiction, because in college and in high school I wanted to write novels as well as illustrate, and I kind of stopped because I got really busy and the whole illustrator identity took over my life. And just last year, I think it was last year, I returned to tell my stories through just words instead of images. With that decision, I've done a ton of reading of novels and writing craft books. And coming back to Space Warriors and having to just write it, I can tell how much I've improved in my writing, just because I'm more self-aware of the different voices that are involved and the different personalities. Because where I'm at right now in the 3rd part of Space Warriors is they've landed into a new planet and they're having a confrontation. This confrontation is supposed to show how Yuka and Euros are very different type of people. I'm enjoying using this confrontation to show how their personalities are very different, because one of the things I was struggling with the beginning of Space Wars, and I can still see it when I look at the comics that are up right now. Eventually I would like to make big changes with how it was written in terms of the dialogue. I can tell that their voices are very much the same, unfortunately. I think I missed the mark, but now I can definitely tell that their voices are different. I'm just saying, I can tell that my focus is so much more sharper. Now that I've read all these novels and craft books, I'm by no means a good writer. I don't consider myself a good writer, but I can at least tell that I'm better. And it's kind of cool to see that. So, just wanted to share. I don't know. In another note, I finally got a copy of the comic I made a variant cover for a couple months ago. I did loosen up the tape, so we'll see what the cover looks like in actual physical print. Wow! Here's the bookmark for the comic. So cool. And here it is. Wow, that's so cool. It printed really, really nicely. It looks just like how it looks online. And this is the comic. Wow, that's really awesome. I love doing variant covers because it's pretty much like doing fan art. It's really just an awesome type of gig to just read the comic and then come up with a cool cover. And this one in particular was fun because it's set in the desert, so just loved drawing these little plateaus and the desert plants, and the texture to the rock statue was probably the funnest part of this. Thank you, Jay, for this awesome commission. This was just really cool. So I'm gonna put it back in the sleeve with the bookmark so that I can save it forever and ever. Now back to writing. Good morning. Today is November 3rd, which means I skipped a whole day of vlogging. And that's because I didn't do any writing. Already starting off NaNoWriMo on a great foot. I don't really care because I've done enough NaNoWriMos that I'm just dead inside. I'm just gonna stick to the whole goal of participating in NaNoWriMo this month, just to get me to do more writing. So I forced myself to wake up super early today just to get a lot of writing done. I've written 200 words today in my fantasy romance story. To tell you a little bit about this story, I'm actually going to be self-publishing a short story of it. I'm aiming for December 15th. I don't think it should be a problem because I've pretty much already written it. Today is the due date for my beta readers. Once I collect all of their feedback, I'll have to do some revising, and I do need to finish the cover art for it, but other than that, it's like 90% there. I'm feeling pretty good about December 15th as the due date. As for why I'm continuing to write it, it started off as a short story and now I'm just kind of continuing it. We all collectively, all the readers for it who end up enjoying the story, we all need closure. So I'm just continuing the story. I don't really have a choice. These characters have their voice. It's genuinely a lot of fun to write. I don't feel as much anxiety writing this compared to my medieval comic. My medieval comic is just, it's really hard. It's really hard to write it because I'm dealing with a historical period and a lot of characters that I'm really not as into writing on. That story definitely feels more like work. Unless it's a cute scene between Henry and Alice, then yeah, I'll write that no problem. The last thing I wanted to mention about participating in this whole NaNoWriMo thing that I didn't mention in the intro was that 2 out of these 3 projects that I'm going to be focusing on are scripts. They're not novels. So for me to stick to the 1600 word count that is classic NaNoWriMo is impossible, because that's just a lot of work. That's like hours and hours of work to even get to that word count on a script. So I do want you to bear in mind that if I say I've written 1,000 words in a script, will there be a day that I write that much? I don't think so. Just because of how busy my life is, it's not a matter of not wanting to do it. I'm just too busy, but I still have that goal, so it is what it is. It's 7:30 right now. I start my day job in 1 hour, so I'm gonna write for 45 minutes and then get dressed. Hi. I don't have any snacks. Stop following me like a shadow. I already gave him a treat, so that's why he's still up. I just went on my lunch break, so I have my girl night writing playlist on, so I'm gonna get to writing. Okay, it's writing sessions like these that I get why people pants writing, why they have so much trust in writing without an outline, because I just came up with 2 entirely new scenes that I didn't have in my outline, and I already created like an inside joke within them. It's just, how does this happen? Where finally sit down and immerse yourself in the story, the words just come out. These characters say things by themselves. You didn't even plan it. It's incredible. Well, there goes my lunch break. I don't know if you can tell. I have 30 seconds left. How many words did I get? 300 words. 300 words in a script, too. Like, that's not bad. And then earlier this morning, I got 200 words. So that's 500 words today. So I'm like halfway through my daily goal. I'm gonna have to work overtime at my day job, so I don't foresee being able to write again until late in the evening. Yay! It looks like I don't have to work overtime today, so I do have the evening free. That also means I can make it to my gym class. Listen, I haven't worked out in months, so I am very out of shape. I'm terrified of going to the gym, but it has to happen, so I'm gonna go. It's gonna be in 45 minutes, and then we can get back to writing. Bye. It looks like I still have like 15 minutes left before going to the gym, so it's like, what do I do with this very small amount of time? It's like not enough to really get into writing, but it's something. So right now in girl night, where I'm at is right in the middle of the story, and a court dance instructor comes to visit the castle to sort of freshen up all the knights' knowledge about court dances, because at the end of the story they're supposed to go to this big tournament hosted by the Duke of Burgundy, so they should be able to participate in these courtly dances. And that scene that I'm working on right now, it's supposed to be kind of like cute and funny, because the court instructor kind of yells at some of the knights who like aren't very graceful. And I really did think I had written a portion of that story somewhere. I'm trying to find where I wrote it because I sometimes write by hand, some scenes. I've written sometimes on my notes app if I'm like traveling or something, and on my Scrivener I have past versions from other NaNoWriMos on here too. I think I do have to do a little bit of digging before tackling the scenes. It just feels like deja vu. I'm like, I feel like I've written this scene before, or at least outlined the important stuff that should happen in that scene. So I'm just feeling a little silly right now of like, where did I write this? Too many places. I found it, you guys. The scene with the court trainer. It was definitely in my archives, and it looks like it was the first NaNoWriMo attempt that I actually wrote it. I have about 15 minutes before starting day job, but I wanted to show you what I got yesterday. I haven't even opened it. I pre-ordered this new calligraphy fountain pen. It's just a fountain pen from this company, Ferris Wheel Press. They've been advertising to me aggressively on Instagram, and I have been wanting to find a more sustainable way of owning pens. By sustainable, I mean you can refill pens with ink instead of just buying a whole new pen. And so I am very excited to have finally bought their new fountain pen, because they're the ones that they usually sell are like $100, but this one, I don't remember how much it was, but it wasn't $100, so that's why I jumped on the pre-order. And that was back in early September, so we're in November. It took them like 2 months to send it out. I also bought ink with it, and it looks like I bought a brown ink, which makes sense. And the bottle is really pretty. I don't know if you can tell. I don't actually know how to fill up a fountain pen, so I'm pretty sure there's a learning curve involved in these types of tools, but I am super excited. I chose lilac, and this is it. I mean, it's nothing special or anything, but I am definitely gonna have to Google how to fill this up. So, oh, look at that. Still don't know what to do with it. Gonna have to, yeah, definitely gonna have to figure that out. So anyways, I just wanted to share that. Eventually, maybe on my lunch break, I'll figure out how to do this, and I'll show you what the ink is gonna end up looking like. If you haven't heard this company before and you're really into like writing papery stuff, check them out. They're called Ferris Wheel Press, and their stuff is really cute. I kind of want to buy all of their inks, even though I don't really even use ink. I'm a pencil person. I love graphite. I love being able to erase. I'm gonna have breakfast and start the day job. So, talk to you later. Good morning. Today is Saturday, November 6th. Yesterday I didn't vlog because I didn't really write. The only time I wrote was during my lunch break at work because I have to go to the office on Fridays. So no vlogging there. I didn't actually write on my iPad. I wrote on my phone because I have the Scrivener app on my phone just in case I ever want to write on the go. I do have to sync my Dropbox account from my phone so that I can update my iPad and then we can get back to work on the iPad. That's how I've been working. But I did have a realization the other day in regards to a girl night. I really haven't written in girl night as much as I'd like to, and I'm trying to figure out like, why am I being so slow about this story when I've literally been working on it for so many years. I think it's because it's turned into a bigger story than I had planned. And by bigger, I literally mean there are more storylines than I had foreseen. When I planned Girl Night, it was just gonna be about Alice and her story. But now it's Alice and the Knights and their stories. So I'm confronting having to write several subplots, and they're not as, I personally don't deem them as fun as writing about Alice's journey. Now, do they have to be written? Probably. I think that's the kind of story that focuses on several journeys. I mean, they are subplots. Alice's story is still the main story, but the hi buddy, good morning. I guess I do have to figure out those subplots, and my brain doesn't want to. It just wants to focus on Alice and all of the exciting parts in the story, and the not so exciting parts I just don't have the will or the energy to write them. So I think that's part of the challenge with writing Girl Night. So as I'm sitting here, I'm trying to figure out, alright, well, it's time to write. What are you gonna write? And lately I've just been wanting to write that fantasy romance story. The one project that I really probably shouldn't be working on. I probably should be working on Space Warriors and Girl Night, and it's like, god damn it, why does it work like that? But I genuinely feel inspired to keep writing that fantasy romance because like, it's fresh. The scenes are playing in my mind. I really should be writing them down. So I feel compelled to have to continue writing that, and it is what it is. I'm sorry. The point of NaNoWriMo is to get me to write, so we're gonna write. So it's been like an hour and a half, and I've written about 1,000 words in this romance fantasy story, and I could keep going. That's just where we're at in this creative bubble. Like, I can't get this story out of my head, so I just need to keep writing it. What's cool is I just wrote the moment when Claire and Mirabelle met. I had made a note a month ago of a possible meeting. Like, I really am kind of pantsing this because I have a very loose outline, but the details are blurry, if not non-existent, and I'm okay with that. I think the difference between this story and Girl Night is only a portion of Girl Night I genuinely enjoy writing, and this story, this romance fantasy story, I mean, every single scene I'm interested in writing because it involves magic and romance. I know I need to finish Girl Night eventually, but the thing is, I want to write out this creative train before it fizzles out. Earlier this week, I went through my beta reader feedback, and some comments were made about how they wanted to know more about Claire and Mirabelle, more about their backstory, how they met and all that, and it's unfortunate because the short story is just supposed to be a short story, and then what I'm working on now is pretty much the rest of the story. Originally it was just going to be a short story, but I kept having more scenes of them and conflicts that they were having with other magical beings, and it just became this bigger thing. So I have now the short story, which I'm gonna publish in December, and then I have this thing that I'm continuously writing as easily as breathing, basically. Like, it's just so easy to write this compared to Girl Night, where every word causes pain for me to write. My brain, I'm not making any sense. I hope I'm making sense. What I'm saying is, some of the feedback from the beta readers, they wanted to know more, and unfortunately I can't give them too much more in the short story. So now that I actually wrote the scene of when they met, it was pretty cool. It was pretty exciting. Like, I hope that whoever is interested in the short story is going to continue to read the rest of it, because a lot of their questions are going to be answered here, and I hope I do it in a way that is entertaining. We're gonna be running some errands now, and then we have a show to go to at night, so I don't think I'll be able to write anymore. So it looks like 1,000 words it is for today, so that pretty much means I'm gonna wrap up this week's vlog. Overall, NaNoWriMo was, it was meh. I'm not lacking in ideas or inspiration. What I'm lacking is time. That is what I'm lacking. So I am going to continue to do my best to try to put in as much writing as I can this month. Personally, I think it's working. I'm getting words done. Like my favorite authortuber right now, I'll put her channel here, she's pretty much always reminding you that any words is better than no words. Yeah, she's right. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, because why would you be watching without subscribing? Like, why? Regardless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!